Hi guys, I'm back. And just in case you're wondering why you're looking at this awesome poster made by Crazy Samurai, which is also my profile picture on WhatsApp, it's because I look terrible and I don't want you guys to see my face. So you're going to be looking at this awesome poster for the entire video while I talk about the topic of the video, which is why Season 5 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is better than Season 7. Now, in order to do that, I'm going to go into detail on both seasons. I'm going to talk about more about season 5 because it's a longer season, and then I'm going to talk about why this was better and this was not. So yeah, let's get started. So most people say that season 4 of Agents of Shield is better than season 5, and I kind of disagree. One of the reasons, probably the main reason why people think that season 4 is better is because of the three pods, which were the three primary storylines of season 4, which was Ghost Rider, the LMDs, and Agents of Hydra, and how it was all tied together with the Darkhold. That was probably the main reason why that season is so beloved. And the reason why I think season 5 is better is that it managed to tell one story from beginning to end without a single filler episode. In a 22 episode season, that is something the Arrowverse wishes they could do. Like, even the episode Rise and Shine. Again, spoiler warning for the show. I'm sorry I didn't warn you guys earlier. So yeah, please, if you haven't seen the show, just don't watch this, and please, even if you're like, I don't watch the show, it doesn't matter. No, please watch the show. It's one of the few shows out there that's actually worth watching. It's Marvel, so it's worth it. But the primary reason is that it actually has a satisfying ending, unlike most shows like Game of Thrones or Dexter or How I Met Your Mother. So yeah, it has 7 seasons. It's available on ABC and Netflix, depending where you live, and it's also available on websites like Quivana and MyFlixer. So yeah, please go watch the show and then come back. Fine. Okay, we're good. So season 5 is practically the second half of season 3 upgraded to a million, because if you guys remember, in season 3 there was this fallen agent storyline where one member of the team was going to die, and that was set up from the second half of that season. However, in season 5 it is set up that the world is going to die, and that's from the very beginning of the season. It's upgraded. It's it's able to be fleshed out and developed, and it was great. I loved it. It was technically the second episode, but hey, doesn't really matter, does it? And the characters, that's what you care about the most. You actually feel like the characters are affected by the events of the previous season, how each of them feel like different people after being in the framework, how Coulson feels about his father, May about if she hadn't killed that girl in Bahrain, Simmons, I mean, she died in the framework, so there's not much. Fitz being the doctor, Daisy being part of Hydra and being Ward's girlfriend as Sky, not Daisy Johnson, and Mac being with his daughter, and everything, just everything. Even Radcliffe, even though he's not in this season, even Radcliffe felt fleshed out in season 4. So yeah, in this season, you actually you care about the characters in every season. I'm not saying that you don't, but I'm just saying that especially in this season. And when they find out that the future is going to end, you're constantly with the anxiety on whether or not they're going to succeed or not, because for those of you who weren't there at the time when season 5 premiered, we didn't know whether the show was going to be renewed for a sixth season or not. We For the best odds were that this was going to be the final season, and it was coming out about the same time as Infinity War. So it was probably likely that most, if not all, the characters were going to get snapped out of existence. And yeah, so yeah, the biggest anxiety was not knowing whether or not this was going to be the final season. That was the biggest anxiety of this season for sure. If you were there, then you know. And yeah, you're constantly with a lot of questions. Is Daisy really the destroyer of worlds? If so, then why does she kill everyone? If she's not, then who is the destroyer of worlds, and why did they kill everyone? How are they gonna save the world? Are they gonna save the world? Are they even gonna succeed? Is Coulson really gonna die again? And yeah, this is the season that gives you the most anxiety. It's the one that keeps you most tuned in and most entertained with every new element brought in every new episode, and you're wondering like, but what does this have to do with anything? And well, what does this have to do with Coulson's death? A lot of people said at the time. And then in the second last episode, everything comes together, and you're like, oh my god, I can't believe it. And the stakes are clear. Either the team has a choice: either they save Coulson or they save the world. Simple as that. And the whole team is divided, rightfully so. They've seen the future. The first half of the season was them finding out that the world is gone, and then the second half is them preventing that future from ever happening. The stakes have never been higher, truly. Not even in season four, where Ada was going to turn the world into the framework. No, the world is non-existent here. The stakes have truly never been higher. I mean, yeah, sure, you could say that season seven had bigger stakes because time itself was going to be destroyed, but yeah, it definitely feels like the stakes are bigger here. And yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about arguably one of the best villains of the show. Maybe not as good as Ada, but still great in his own right. Glenn Talbot, aka Graviton. Now, I'm not going to talk about how the actor of Franklin Hall couldn't be here because he didn't look like Graviton or blah blah blah. The idea of me, since they thought that this was going to be the final season, and they wanted to, and they had been teasing Graviton since season one, and Talbot was a character who we had known since season one as well. Making an amalgamation of both characters was really a really good idea. It really upped the stakes. I mean, Graviton is probably the most powerful villain this show has ever had. I mean, technically, Daisy was became stronger than him in the end, and Nathaniel Malik technically took her powers. So technically, Nathaniel Malik is better. I mean, not better, but stronger and more powerful than Graviton. But I don't buy it. I absolutely don't buy it. I mean, and yeah, so when Talbot takes the gravitonium and he gets the idea that he has to destroy the world in order to save it. I mean, he wants to get more gravitonium. That's his main motivation. And in order to do that, the Earth has to crack apart, and he is willing to make that sacrifice. To him, the end justifies the means. And we don't want him to think that. He's a character who we've known since season one, a character who's gone through an arc of being from being an enemy of S.H.I.E.L.D. to being a neutral force to being an ally and even friend of Coulson, and to the point where when he was captured by Hale, all he would say is that Coulson and S.H.I.E.L.D. would come to save him. That's how much faith he had in S.H.I.E.L.D. at this point. That is a truly fascinating arc. So seeing this character take that turn, becoming this villain who is willing to destroy the world, to make himself stronger, to quote unquote save the world, it's truly heartbreaking. He's like Ramses from Prince of Egypt. You want him to change his mind, and you don't want there to be a fight. You care about him. You don't want him to die. Yeah, you care. He's a character. That's what he is. A really good villain. A really good character. Let's compare that to season 7, where the main villain is Nathaniel Malik, a character who we have zero attachment to, a character whose only prior appearance to season 7 was a flashback in season 3. So he's only been in one season, maybe two if you count that one episode, which doesn't really make a difference. And all we want for him, especially after killing Jia Ying, is to die. That's all we want for him. That we just want Daisy to kill him and be done with it. He's not a character. He's an obstacle. We don't. We're never given I mean, he doesn't have to be that kind of villain who you don't want, who you care about. I mean, not all villains are like that. But he could have been a villain who you understand his motives, but you know he has to be stopped. But no, he's not even that kind of villain. We don't understand. I mean, we know what he wants. He wants anarchy and chaos. So yeah, basically the same motivation as the Joker. and that has worked in the past. Except we're never given any indications that Nathaniel Malik, the character, would want that. Again, we have no attachment to him because he hasn't had much development, unlike Talbot, who's had development since season one of the show. Talbot was in 4 seasons prior to him becoming the main villain. Nathaniel Malik was in a flashback prior to him becoming the main villain. So yeah, that's why. And the actor didn't really do much help. The actor was really weak. He wasn't bad. He was just meh. That was Nathaniel Malik. That was basically him. And the actor did like this really weird accent where he was like in the episode Adapt or Die, where he kidnaps Daisy and Sousa, and Sousa asks him what the hell he did to Daisy, and he responds with, took a cup of blood, took a couple clamps. Now I just have a synthesize it all and transfuse it to me. Yeah, yeah, that didn't really help. He had a really weird voice and a really weird accent. Yeah, the idea of making Nathaniel Malik that character, if you're even generous enough to call him a character, the main villain of the final season, that was a really bad choice on the showrunner's part and on the writer's part. I love the show, but Nathaniel Malik is probably my least favorite villain of the entire show. And making him the villain of the final season was definitely didn't help. And yeah, that's probably my biggest complaint about season 7. With my second biggest complaint being the episode with Mac and Deke. Now, don't get me wrong, the episode in itself wasn't bad. Most of it was good. A few parts were like, can we just get it over with? Like that part with Deke and his team with the gauntlet. That part felt, I mean, yeah, it's what they would do. I mean, it's embarrassing, and that's the point. You feel like Mac and Coulson watching it. It's supposed to be embarrassing. And that montage where Mag is building the toy car and Deke keeps coming to his home to bring him food and inviting him to his band party. It's really good. It really shows that Deke is generally a good person, and that Mag is definitely at his lowest point right now after killing Chronicoms that look like his parents. But I probably would have given the episode a pass if it wasn't in the final season. I mean, it felt like such an unnecessary filler episode. I mean, it could have been used to give Nathaniel Malik more development. I don't know. I mean, Nathaniel doesn't have a single episode dedicated to himself, which is one of the reasons why he was so bad. And and what else? Yeah. So yeah, the episode itself wasn't bad, but not for the final season. Not at all. Season 7 was not a bad season in the slightest. It was a good and even great season. It just wasn't as good as season 5, not as a final season or even as a season in general. I kind of wish that the show had lasted for 9 seasons, which is a series that I'm going to do in a while on whether the show had lasted for 9 seasons, and I'm also going to change a lot of stuff in between that I think would have made the show better. It's going to be called Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Earth 2 Million. And yeah, after I finish that series, I'm going to give you guys a link in the description after I finish the series on a Wikipedia sandbox of mine that has my version of the show with all the main cast, recurring cast, and special guest stars, and you'll get to look at my mind on an alternate version of the show. Hence the title Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Earth 2 Million. So yeah, please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Please watch my other videos like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or my other content. I also made a video on the trailer of Raya and the Last Dragon. Please check that out. And yeah, tell me in the comments which is your favorite season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like I said, my favorite season is season 5, but tell me what's yours. So yeah, thank you for watching, and peace out.